You're listening to Fast Facts, Ask the Expert with Katrina Sanders.
Hello, and welcome back to Ask the Expert. Today, we're diving into a topic that's near and dear to a lot of us in the dental world, and that is xylitol gum. We've seen it pop up in everything from over-the-counter gum to lozenges, and it's touted for its impressive benefits in both caries prevention and saliva stimulation. But let's break it down a bit more. What, when, where, why, and how should we be using xylitol to benefit our patients and their oral health? Let's start with a refresher on xylitol itself. Now, for those of us who've been in the dental world for a while, we know that xylitol is a sugar alcohol, a natural sweetener found in tons of fruits and vegetables like raspberries, apples, and mushrooms, but it's typically extracted from birchwood or corn to be used in a variety of products, including gums, toothpastes, and even some oral care rinses. Unlike traditional sugars, xylitol doesn't feed the bacteria that can cause decay. In fact, it actually disrupts the bacteria's ability to adhere to the tooth surface, which essentially blocks them from metabolizing sugars into acid, which we know is the culprit behind demineralization and subsequent tooth decay. It's a great alternative for our patients who are looking to reduce sugar intake while still enjoying the sweet taste of their favorite gums or candies. Now, when we talk about recommending xylitol gum to patients, the question is, why should we be incorporating this into patient care? For starters, xylitol offers some pretty significant benefits for caries prevention. When it's used consistently, especially in between meals, it actually reduces plaque accumulation and can minimize the chance of decay developing by inhibiting that harmful bacterial growth. And here's where it kind of gets interesting. Xylitol also helps to stimulate saliva production. As dental professionals, we know that saliva is essential for neutralizing acids in the mouth, buffering against bacterial acids, as well as aiding in the remineralization of enamel. Patients with dry mouth or those who are undergoing treatments like radiation therapy, we know can particularly benefit from added saliva stimulation. By recommending xylitol gum, we can help these patients achieve better oral health through a simple daily habit. But the big question we always ask is, how much xylitol are we talking about here when it comes to these benefits? So let's take a look at that common question. Does the amount of xylitol in your average store-bought gum really have enough impact to be effective for our patients? Well, we need to remember that Strive for 5 campaign. So the Strive for 5 initiative, which we've all likely heard about in one form or another, suggests that the optimal dose of xylitol to achieve caries prevention is about 5 grams a day. The idea is that chewing xylitol gum 5 times a day for about 5 minutes each time is the magic formula for giving the oral cavity enough time to benefit from xylitol's plaque-reducing properties. Here's where it gets tricky, though. While some of the gum you'll find in the local grocery stores may contain xylitol, it often doesn't have enough to hit that 5-gram threshold. So, for example, many gums on the market will contain around a half a gram of xylitol per piece. So, unless your patients are chewing a hefty amount of gum throughout the day, they may not be getting the full benefit. So, it's important to point this out to our patients to make sure they're aware that they might need to chew multiple pieces of gum to reach that 5-gram target. Let's also talk about the controversy around xylitol. Some people have raised concerns about those cardiovascular disease risks associated with consuming too much xylitol, particularly if it's swallowed. This is particularly relevant because xylitol is absorbed differently into the body compared to other sugars, and there have been discussions about its potential impact on blood pressure, heart health, and even blood sugar levels. The worry comes from the fact that xylitol, when it's consumed in larger quantities, can theoretically affect certain metabolic pathways. Here's the key takeaway for us in dentistry. Chewing gum doesn't generally fall into this category. When you're recommending xylitol gum to your patients, it's important to highlight that the act of chewing gum releases xylitol in small, controlled amounts, which the body handles relatively easily. Most of the time, it's not going to have the same effects on cardiovascular health that large direct doses of systemic xylitol might have, particularly if it were consumed in excessive amounts from a different source. That said, like anything, it's important to use discretion, especially when working with patients who have specific health concerns or conditions like diabetes or cardiovascular issues. Always make sure to advise your patients to consult with their physicians if they happen to have concerns about the effects of xylitol in their particular diet. So, let's wrap up. Xylitol gum, we know, is a fantastic tool in our preventive arsenal. And when it's used correctly, it can be an easy way for patients to help prevent cavities and encourage better salivary flow. While the amount in your average store-bought gum may not always be sufficient to hit that recommended 5 grams per day, you can still advise your patients to chew multiple pieces throughout the day to achieve that optimal amount. And despite some of the concerns surrounding xylitol's potential impact on cardiovascular health, chewing xylitol gum in moderation remains a safe and effective way to support overall oral health. That's all for today's deep dive into xylitol. As always, keep up with the latest in preventive care, and let's continue to work together to elevate our patients' oral health. Please feel free to reach me on Instagram at The Dental Wine Hygienist or on my website, www.katrinasanders.com. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Fast Facts Ask the Expert. If you have a topic you would like one of our experts to answer, simply email me, Andrew at ataleoftoahygienist.com, and we will get it on the air as soon as possible. Thanks for listening.